Currently ranking number 8 in the DxO camera ranking for this year. And this is the current champion of the said ranking. Can the iPhone 14 Pro go toe-to-toe with the Huawei P60 Pro? We'll find it out in this video. So hi guys, it's me Richmond of Gadget Sidekick and welcome back to my channel. So we have two great phones here on my hand. And today, i-check natin in this video kung kaya ba ni iPhone 14 Pro tapatan ang camera performance ni Huawei P60 Pro. Given na si iPhone 14 Pro na 6256GB of storage is priced currently at $69,999 and ang Huawei P60 Pro ang kanyang base variant na 8256 is priced at $58,999. Ang presyo namin this one is more premium. But ang sabi ni DxO Mark, this one has the better camera. So titingnan natin kung worth it nga bang yung 70,000 pesos dito or should you take this one, ang nasa 59,000 pesos. Simulan natin with a quick unboxing. Okay, for the unboxing experience here, we have the Huawei P60 Pro on my left and the iPhone 14 Pro here on my right. So both of them are 256GB of storage. So let's just simply unbox the iPhone 14 Pro. Inside we have the phone itself, which I have is a color gold. Then we have the C to Lightning cable, SIM ejector tool, the Apple sticker, and some documentation. No charging brick as usual. So I would suggest that you try to buy one of this one. Ugreen Nexode mini 20 watts charger. It's very portable, very small. You can bring it anywhere and it's USB Type-C ready. Link on the description. So this time let's see what P60 Pro has to offer. We have the phone itself. Inside we have the SIM ejector tool. We have a jelly case. We have a Type-A to Type-C cable. And we have a 88 watts of Huawei supercharged charging brick, which comes in either you go for Type-C or the Type-A charging port. For the unboxing experience, I'll give it to Huawei for the extra case and the 88 watts of charging brick. Now, right now, tingnan muna natin kanyang design. So, sa likod, si Huawei and si iPhone both has triple camera setup. So, medyo magkaiba sila design pagdating sa camera module. Apple has its Apple logo here, while si Huawei has its print over here. Pagdating sa texture, iba ang feel nila. So, medyo mas smoother dito kay iPhone. But what's nice is, parehos naman sila hindi fingerprint magnet. Now, pagdating sa right side si iPhone, meron siyang power button. And pagdating sa right side ni Huawei, meron siyang power button and of course, kanang volume rocker. Sa ibaba, malinis si iPhone. Si Huawei naman, meron siya loudspeaker plus IR blaster and noise cancelling mic. Pagdating naman sa left side, si Apple, meron siya ringer toggle, meron siya volume rocker, and of course, ang kanyang SIM slot is there. Si Huawei, pretty clean. Now, pagdating sa ilalim, si iPhone has its loudspeaker, lightning port, and of course, a microphone in. Si Huawei, nandiyan ka ng loudspeaker, nandiyan ang kanyang Type-C port, microphone in, and of course, ka ng SIM tray. Now, pagdating naman sa kanyang front camera, si iPhone having that dynamic island, si Huawei having its punch hole camera. Now, pagdating naman sa display, si iPhone having its flat na screen, si Huawei naman having its quad curve na display panel. Now, pagdating naman sa kanilang mga SIM tray, si Huawei has dual nano SIM na support. Yung kabila, pwede isang nano MEM. Si iPhone having one SIM card na nano SIM. And in some other countries, pwede mo gamitin yung eSIM as your second number. So after kong sukatin using my caliper, this one is a little bit thinner at 7mm. This one is a little bit thicker at 8mm. Pero pagkasama ka ng camera bump, pareho sila na sa 12mm. Now pagdating sa processor, si Apple having its own na A16 na Bionic chip na 4nm. Si Huawei is sporting the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, which is also a 4nm na chip. Now pagdating naman sa kanilang mga UI, si iPhone having the iOS 16.4. Si Huawei naman EMUI 13 ang takbo niya. Now, both of them are smooth in their own way and what's nice is pareho silang 120Hz sa screen refresh. Now, pagdating naman sa benchmarking, kita naman natin dito na medyo mas lamang si Huawei P60 Pro. Now, pagdating naman sa graphics test, tinry naman natin gamitin ang 3D Mark ng Wildlife Extreme to check it out. Medyo mas lamang nga talaga si iPhone. So, probably malalaman natin a little bit later pagdating sa gaming. Pero on the contrary naman ng Antutu benchmark, pagdating sa Geekbench na version 6, lamang na lamang si iPhone pagdating dito sa benchmarking. Pagdating sa display, si iPhone having a 6.1-inch na LTPO na Super Retina na display. It's an OLED display with 120Hz of screen refresh rate. And ang kanyang front protection is a ceramic shield na glass. Pagdating naman dito kay Huawei P60 Pro, this one is sporting a 6.67-inch na LTPO na OLED display. 120Hz sila kanyang support. And this one is being protected by the almost unbreakable na Kunlun glass. So watching these two video together, I can say na, well, honestly, it's hard for me to tell kung sino mas maganda. But what I can say dito is, now, both of them running at their maximum brightness, it seems to me na mas matingkad lang nakikita ko dito sa Huawei P60 Pro. But overall, both of them are really nice ang kanilang display. I could hardly say kung sino mas winners kanilang dalawa. Now, both of them, ang kanilang loudspeaker is respectively loud and, well, it's hard for me to tell because yun ang mas lamang. Kasi parehong malakas, parehong magandang kanilang premium sounds. Now, pagdating naman si battery, si iPhone having a 3,200 mAh of battery which can support up to 25 watts of fast charging, 15 watts naman ang kanyang charging pagdating sa MagSafe, and 7.5 watts naman pagdating sa Qi charger. Si Huawei has a 4,850 mAh of battery, supports up to 88 watts na supercharged yung Huawei, and it can support also 50 watts of wireless charging, and it can also reverse charge. So pagdating sa battery endurance, I would give it to Huawei for having the bigger battery, and it can last me longer throughout the day as compared naman sa iPhone 14 Pro on a day-to-day basis kung sabay ko sila ginagamit. Na pagdating naman sa gaming experience ko dito on both phones, playing Genshin Impact, I would give it to iPhone 14 Pro for having this smoother experience. Naka-turn on lahat ng high graphical settings, and pagdating naman kay Huawei, medyo nafe-feel ko there are times na nagfe-frame drops ka talaga siya. Probably that's the reason kung bakit mas mababa nakuha ni P60 Pro na score pagdating sa graphics test sa 3D Mark na benchmarking. Now, I guess it's time for us to talk about the camera nito both phones. Both of them having great specs pagdating sa camera. This one is rank 8 sa DxOMark, and this one is currently ranked number 1. So, alam naman natin ang mga quality na iPhone. It's always nice. And this one starting off with a 48MP na wide lens, 12MP na telephoto lens, 12MP din ang kanyang ultra-wide lens, and meron din siyang 3D na LiDAR scanner. And this one can shoot up to 4K and 60 FPS. And ang kanyang front-facing camera is 12MP and can shoot up to 4K and 60 FPS as well. Napagdating naman kay Huawei, it's a 48MP na main camera sensor with OIS and a 48MP na telephoto lens. And it also has a 13MP na ultra-wide lens. This one can shoot up to 4K 60 FPS. And ang kanyang front-facing camera is also a 13MP which can shoot up to 4K and 60 FPS. So right now guys, pag-usapan natin mga shots na nakuha natin side-by-side between the Huawei P60 Pro and the iPhone 14 Pro. So let's start off with the moonshot. So kita natin dito both taken at 10 times zoom. And dito sa iPhone 14 Pro, it's just like a regular light lang dito sa iPhone 14 Pro. Taking it at the 10 times zoom, very graining siya makita natin. And dito naman sa Huawei P60 Pro, very clear ang shot niya sa moon. Itong 10 times zoom, no? Dito sa Huawei P60 Pro, kita natin, no? Ang ganda ng kuha niya as compared dito sa iPhone 14 Pro na parang ilaw lang ang nakuha natin, na very grainy. Pag tinignan natin dito sa food shot na ito, mapapansin natin, no? It looks like parang dalawang klaseng donut, magkaibang donut to kasi yung color nila is not the same. Now, if you take a quick look naman dito sa Huawei, it looks really yummier dahil sa kanyang kulay. But if you take a look at the actual product sa iyong naked eye, si iPhone 14 Pro takes the more natural shot na mas malapit sa kanyang tunay na kulay. But if you zoom it in and take a look at some of the details dito sa dalawang product na ito, mapapansin natin na mas grainier ang mga kuha ni iPhone as compared dito sa Huawei P60 Pro, na mas sharper ang photo ni P60 Pro when you zoom it in dito sa flower na ito and sa some of these golden na pellets over here. Now, pag tinignan natin itong dalawang shot ito, dalawang mannequin na ito, si Huawei was able to take it a little bit more warmer shot. Pansin nyo sa ilaw, sa Huawei, it looks a little bit more warmer as compared sa iPhone 14 Pro. Now, if you take a look at sa kanilang damit, yung sa iPhone looks a little bit more closer dun sa kanyang tunay na kulay. Okay? And if you zoom it in dito sa kanyang jacket, mapapansin nyo na parang mas kita pa yung mga gusot dito sa Huawei P60 Pro as medyo a little bit more smoother dito sa iPhone 14 Pro. Now, look at these two rides. Mapapansin natin at the same distance na kinuha natin. And it's a bit evident na dito sa ilalim, yung ilaw, I'm not quite sure kung bakit sobrang dark dito sa iPhone 14 Pro as compared dito sa Huawei P60 Pro na mas compared dito sa Huawei P60 Pro na a little bit more natural itong nasa sahig, no? If you look at yung sa smile naman niya, yung ilaw, parang mas harsher ang ilaw na nakuha natin dito sa iPhone 14 Pro as opposed dito sa Huawei P60 Pro. Now, if you take a look naman dito sa ulo niya, mas maganda ang kuhanan dito, no? Mas natural as compared dito sa iPhone 14 Pro. And kung tinignan mo din ang reflection ng ilaw dito sa P60 Pro, it looks a little bit more natural. Mas maganda tingnan as compared dito sa iPhone 14 Pro. Now, it may seem na itong dalawang shot na ito looks quite similar. But if you take a quick look naman, but if you take a closer look dito sa dalawang photo na ito, mapapansin mo yung leaves dito sa iPhone 14 Pro is a little bit more darker. Yeah, as compared dito sa Huawei P60 Pro. Kung zinumin mo naman dito sa bulaklak, mapapansin mo naman na, well, halos pareho lang naman ang details na preserve nito both phones nito. So, using yung mga respective macro lens nilang dalawa, mapapansin natin dito sa iPhone 14 Pro na mas sabog ang kuha na dito, no? Which is a little bit more natural dito ang kuha ni Huawei P60 Pro. Mas maganda siyang tingnan as opposed dito. Na itong dalawang shot na ito is taken at the same distance, mapapansin natin na a little bit more warmer nga kuha talaga ni Huawei P60 Pro. If you zoom it in sa mga ilaw, mapapansin natin dito on the side na mas malinaw, mas matingkad ang kuha ni iPhone 14 Pro. But if you take a look at some of this one, I'm not quite sure kung ano nangyari dito sa iPhone 14 Pro na parang it seems na parang nawala yung ilaw dito as compared kay Huawei na preserve pa rin siya. And this light are solid light, hindi siya blinking. So, I'm just wondering kung bakit nawala yung mga ilaw dito sa iPhone 14 Pro. And if you take a look at dito sa signage, it seems na mas malino ang capture ni P60 Pro dito. Now, taking this building shot, it seems na pag tinignan mo at first glance, parang maliwanag itong sa gitnaan dito kay iPhone 14 Pro. Now, if you take a look dito, if you zoom it in, mas maraming details na kuha dito si Huawei P60 Pro dito sa gilid do sa kanyang mga building, yung mga ilaw dito. No? Parang na-capture ni Huawei a little bit better yung mga details dito sa sides. Now, if you take a look at ito dalawang food shot na ito, it seems to me na itong kay iPhone 14 Pro doesn't look yummy to me. Na itong kay Huawei P60 Pro, a little bit more warmer. It looks yung food na mas masarap kainin na. Just to be on the honest side. Ito parang very, hindi siya masarap, hindi siya mukhang masarap kainin. Yun ang dating sa akin dito sa picture na ito. But both were able to preserve yung kanilang details. But talagang pagka-render ni Huawei P60 Pro, mas maganda talaga yung, yung details na na-capture nito. Yung mas gusto mo kainin. And pag tinignan mo mabuti, some of these ones are medyo blurred out na siya. Nawala na ng focus. While kay Huawei, mas preserve pa yung kanin. Dito naman sa dalawang apparel na nakuha ko sa Adidas, both of them are NMD shoes taken at the same distance. Now, if you look at it, parang si iPhone 14 Pro naman a little bit more warmer this time around. Si Huawei medyo mas matingkad yung kuha niya. Now, if you take a look at some of the details dito sa sapatos, no? It seems to me na mas maganda mga details ako dito ni Huawei P60 Pro sa katawan niya as opposed dito kay iPhone 14 Pro. Now, if you take a look din dito sa sapatos, both were able to capture yung mga details dito sa kanyang sapatos. And pagdating naman dito sa harap, it seems to me a little bit blurred lang kunti dito sa iPhone 14 Pro. Taking these two photos, we can clearly see na indoor na parang mas dramatic ang kuha dito sa Huawei P60 Pro. Okay din naman ng kuha ni iPhone 14 Pro. But if you take a look at some of the details, parang mas shinier ang capture ni Huawei dito sa photo na ito as opposed dito kay iPhone 14 Pro. No? Parang mas maganda ang details na capture niya. Ito parang mapapansin mo, medyo blurred na siya yung mga reflection ng ilaw. While dito na-maintain pa niya na parang very natural ang kuha niya. Now, if you zoom in naman dito sa glass, it seems to me na mas mababasa mo pa yung mga words dito sa Huawei P60 Pro as opposed dito sa iPhone 14 Pro na halos parang hindi mo na siya makita. Sobrang labo na. And pag tinignan mo rin naman ng water dito sa iPhone 14 Pro, para mas malabo ang tubig niya as opposed to very clear, crystal clear ang water na nakuha natin dito sa Huawei P60 Pro. Now, taking a look at selfie shots naman, well, honestly, I would go with si iPhone 14 Pro for taking a little bit better na selfie shot. Parang mas clear siya as opposed dito, if you look at yung mukha ko, a little bit more smoother dito sa Huawei P60 Pro as opposed dito sa iPhone 14 Pro, and a little bit more details na nakuha dito sa iPhone 14 Pro. Even sa mask, makita natin sa definition dito sa mask, kitang-kita pa yung details dito sa mask sa iPhone 14 Pro as opposed dito sa Huawei P60 Pro. Now, pagdating naman dito sa dalawang photo na ito, well, honestly, I was able to monitor it and check na kung sino mas marami details na captured. So, it seems to me medyo na-smooth naman dito ni Huawei ang dahon dito as compared kay iPhone 14 Pro, which has a little bit more detail dito sa kanyang dahon. Now, pagdating naman dito sa dalawang halaman na ito, doon tinignan ko mabuti, si Huawei medyo mas a little bit warmer ang kuha niya. And parang mas dramatic ang kanyang finish dito as compared dito kay iPhone 14 Pro. Yung kanyang capture is a little bit more whiter compared dito sa, well, si Huawei P60 Pro. Now, both of these shots kinuha ko using its ultra-wide lens. So, if you take a look naman dito sa kanyang shot, both are good. Now, if you zoom it in all the way, it seems to me na medyo mas may konting detail pa ang iPhone 14 Pro pagdating sa kanyang building pag zoom in natin as compared dito sa P60 Pro. Now, taking a look at the normal shot, both are nice. But if you take a look dito, parang mas may konting detail dito si Huawei as compared sa iPhone 14 Pro. Now, pagdating naman sa kanyang 10 times zoom, both this phone was able to capture this shot. But I think mas sharper ang photo ni Huawei. If you take a look at more details, this one, mas maraming details ka makikita dito sa Huawei P60 Pro. Now, taking both of these shots side by side, well, honestly, itong kanyang front-facing cameras, iPhone was able to render it a little bit better. Mas magandang color reproduction dito sa iPhone 14 Pro as compared kay Huawei P60 Pro. Now, panoorin muna natin itong dalawang video na ito taken side by side. Now, in terms of details, it seems to me na mas richer ang details na nakuha ni iPhone 14 Pro. And a little bit darker nga lang siya. Pero pagdating sa details, it seems to me na mas lamang talaga si iPhone 14 Pro pagdating sa front-facing camera. Check naman natin dito sa rear camera. Let's just see yung kanyang performance using 4K and 60 FPS. So after natin mapanood itong video na ito side by side, well, honestly, it's hard for me to tell. But if you are taking a look at more details, a little bit more smoother pagdating sa panning, I think si P60 Pro give me a little bit more smoother experience dito sa pagpan using just my bare hand. I was lucky to be able to capture these two shots at the same time and using ang kanyang 3 times zoom. This is what I got. No? So if you're looking at si Huawei P60 Pro, as compared sa iPhone 14 Pro, yung pag-zoom in mo siya, parang mas maraming details ka makukuha dito kay Huawei P60 Pro. In terms of side-by-side shot, pagdating sa resolution, seems to me mas maganda, mas klaro ang nakuha ko dito sa P60 Pro. Now, pagdating naman dito sa dalawang shot na ito, it seems to me na mukha silang pareho. But if you take a quick look sa kanyang mga details, mas maraming lights nakaka-capture itong si Huawei P60 Pro, making the photo a little bit better looking as compared dito sa iPhone 14 Pro. Tingnan natin itong background na sa ilaw. No? Medyo malayo nga lang talaga kanyang difference. Now, pagdating naman dito sa pa-sunset na shot, well, mas magandang, mas dramatic ang kuha dito ni Huawei, mas evident, and kita natin no, yung sunburst effect is in effect dito sa camera na ito due to its mechanical aperture. Mas magandang kuha niya as compared dito sa iPhone 14 Pro. Now, taking these two flower shots side by side, pag zoom in mo dito sa flower, it seems to me na preserved ni Huawei ang kanyang details. Meanwhile, si iPhone, parang medyo nawala ang details dito sa bulaklak. I'm not sure why, but it seems to me na mas na smoothen out ang photo dito sa iPhone 14 Pro. Now, pagdating naman sa night shot, it's a little bit far cry na mas maganda makakuha ni Huawei P60 Pro. E mapapansin mo mga lights dito is a little bit brighter sa Huawei. And of course, don't forget yung kanyang sunburst effect, which is hindi mo mapapansin which is hindi mo ma-achieve dito sa iPhone 14 Pro. Now, this one was taken at around mga 8 o'clock in the evening. Tinry lang natin kunan ng shot na itong kalamansi. And kita natin evidently na ang ganda pa rin. Preserve ni Huawei ang details as compared dito sa iPhone 14 Pro. So, ayan guys, nakita na ang comparison nitong dalawang phone na ito. And pagdating sa performance, I think not so far naman sila from each other. Kasi si iOS has its own advantage and si Huawei has its own advantage sa kanilang UI. So, user experience, pareho naman silang smooth, wala namang masasabi. And pagdating naman sa gaming experience, I would say na mas smoother dito sa iPhone 14 Pro. Pagdating naman sa thickness, di hamak na mas makapal si iPhone 14 Pro as compared kay Huawei P60 Pro pagdating sa design. And si iPhone, well, looking just like another iPhone. And si Huawei, medyo a class of its own kaya design. Well, sa kanilang camera performance, dyan na medyo naglalamang si Huawei. So, hindi naman nagkakamali si DxOMark na mas magandang camera nito. No? So, this one having scored 156 points and this one having scored 146 points sa DxOMark na ranking. Pagdating sa night photography, di hamak na mas maganda mga nakukuha ni Huawei P60 Pro. And on some outdoor condition, I feel na medyo mas maganda mga nakukuha ni Huawei P60 Pro. And si iPhone was able to perform on some indoor shots, but pagdating sa details, di hamak na mas maganda mga nakukuha na details ni Huawei P60 Pro. So guys, I hope may natutunan kayo sa video na ito comparing the iPhone 14 Pro together with the Huawei P60 Pro. Two great phones, two great cameras. But for me, I have to agree with DxOMark kung bakit champion nga itong phone na ito. So if you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, hit nyo na rin bell icon para nyo na miss mga future uploads dito sa aking channel. And so, ako para si Richmond and you're watching Gadget Sidekick. What's up? Like and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. For one of my latest uploads, click the dito. And for one of my popular uploads, click here.